Access to capital is vital for the success of every business. But in spite of this, we see millions of rising stars in business across the world struggle to raise the much needed capital to move their vision forward. Today, I want us to do a high level overview of financial instruments. And of course, at the end of the day, is to show you smart ways in which you can access capital or smart ways that we can help you to access capital. Now, while we have millions of rising stars in business that are struggling to access capital, I want to establish this that there's no shortage of capital. In the private equity investment space, there is billions and perhaps trillions of dollars that exist in dry powder. Now, you also have debt capital, you have equity capital, you have credit capital, you have creative financing, and you have hard money lending. And all of these are various financial instruments that you need to take the time to understand, or at least ensure that you have a financial advisor that is by your side that understand financial portfolio from several different standpoints. One, they must understand the financial portfolios. Two, they must be able to help you to access those financial portfolios. Three, they should be in that position of strength to help you to leverage capital in the smartest of ways. And last but not least, is to help you with that body of knowledge in terms of mitigating financial instruments. Meaning that regardless of how high interest rates may be, because of their in depth knowledge of how financial instruments work, they're able to reduce the cost of capital, reduce the debt life cycle, and also put you in that position of strength to have greater financial leverage. So we'll do a high level overview of this content today. Now, access to capital is easy when you have the right information. And the right information is what the majority of people do not have. Rising stars in business do not have to struggle to access capital. You can leverage a concept that we call trade line. Now, trade line is perhaps the lowest hanging fruit when it comes to access to capital, and we will talk about this today. So, when there is no other alternatives, you still have trade lines that are available to you for leverage. Today, I will give a high level overview of trade lines and benefits to business owners. On today's table of content, we will cover things like definition of trade lines, we'll be looking at application of trade lines, we'll be looking at benefits of trade lines, and last but not least, we will have a call to action in our conclusion. And I want to encourage you, you don't want to miss out on this. We have a number of significant giveaways that we will be offering to you to ensure that you are getting the support that you need to not only learn these concepts that we're discussing today, but you're given the support to take action and to achieve desired results. Now, let us begin by looking at a definition of trade lines. Now, there are three layers to trade lines. There is the first concept that is known as vendor credit. Now, vendor credit is the lowest hanging fruit in the financial world, but it gives you access. And the most important thing here is that you get an access. But let me explain a little bit more what this actually means. Vendor credit represents things like net 30, it represents things like net 60, and it represents things like net 90. Now, let me give a further explanation as to what this is. What this means is that they are vendors that will allocate to you a line of credit. And the line of credit has a life cycle. It may have a life cycle of 30 months, sorry, 30 days, 60 days, or 90 days. I don't know what's happening to me today. So the life cycle of the credit line that they're going to give you is between 30 to 90 days. Now, the beauty about trade lines is that once you're able to settle your debt obligation within this period of time, you have absolutely no interest to pay. No interest to pay. All right. So we'll go deeper into this as we go into today's program. Now, along with this, you also have what is known as store credit. Now, store credit is one step higher because with vendor credit, the monies has to be spent at the vendor. All right. Whatever line of credit that you're going to get, those monies must be spent at the vendor. Regardless of if you're buying a stove or fridge or computer, the monies has to be spent with the vendor. With store credit, it's different because now with store credit, you're able to access thousands of dollars and perhaps hundreds of thousands of dollars from multiple vendors that you can leverage. Now, with store credit, you can spend those funding at the store, and you're also able to spend the funding outside of the store. There may be penalties, but regardless, once you understand financial instruments and how to leverage financial instruments, you have the advantage because there's a major difference between having access to capital and not having access to capital. Major difference. Once you have access, it means that you can keep that wheel of cash flow turning. And once that wheel of cash flow is turning, it means that you're setting the stage to significantly increase your disposable income. That's the whole agenda. Now, in terms of trade lines, you have the third tier, and the third tier is better referred to as cash credit. Now, you're able to get cash credit from multiple institutions, but before you get cash credit, particularly so if you are new in the financial space, there's no historical data out there about you. You would need to go through the Net 30 store credit. Now, the third tier is when you're now able to get financial institutions to invest with you because they look at your financial file and they are able to know, like, and trust, or the opposite of all of that. But here is where you've gone one step further in terms of accessing capital. The first two tiers happens because there's no historical data about you. And talking about this, there are people who are in business for 5 years and 10 years and 15 years and perhaps even 20 years. And there's still no data about you with vendor and with store. And because of all this, you still struggle to access capital because the business is not set up the way it ought to be set up. All right. And this is why you also need to have a very strong consultant on your side that truly understand how to set the business up in the right way to ensure that you win across the spectrums of doing business. All right. So in terms of the cash credit, here is where you have banks. They now want to do business with you. You may have Chase Bank, you may have DB Bank, you may have American Express. You may have multiple financial institutions now want to do business with you because there's a track record. Almost none of these institutions are going to do business with you unless you're able to establish track record or take out what we call a trade line. At another date, we'll talk about all of that. There are different hacks. If you don't have the historical data, there's some hacks that you can use to still navigate that process. On the third tier, also, you have credit unions that are now also more receptive to doing business with you. In fact, as you build up your credit profile, to help you to become more fundable, either your business or you as a private individual. Um, getting trade line is definitely with getting trade line with credit union is definitely a smart move for you to make. And we do this for a lot of our clients, and we see the significant results with this. Now, the pre-qualifications to access trade lines is almost zero to none. Now, you may have to personally guarantee this trade line, and to do that personal guarantee, you may have to have your SSN. Now, as an American citizen, you will have your SSN, your social security number, and perhaps that is basically, the requirement that you need. All right. There may be a few other things, like, for example, you want to have a contact number, you want to have a fixed place of address, but those things, once you're existing, you have those things. All right. And the pre-qualifications to start to access these type of funding is easy as one, two, three. Now, I can afford to say that it's as easy as one, two, three because we have done this multiple times for multiple clients, and we see the significant results in all of this. Now, for a foreign national, it's going to be slightly different, but it is possible. All right. Now, as a foreign national, you need to ensure again that the business is registered properly. You need to ensure that you have your EIN, which is your employee's identification number. You need to ensure that you have your ITIN, and your ITIN works in the space of you not having your SSN. This is the individual taxpayer's identification numbers. Now, the ITIN, once you're doing business in the US, you need an ITIN because you need to remit tax. And the ITIN serve as an SSN. So if you set up your operation properly and you know how to navigate this process, you're now able to leverage this data to start to access these trade lines. Now, at the initial stage, again, because you don't have any visibility, you don't have the know, like, and trust, you will reach some challenges. But there are ways to navigate this as a foreign national. Again, if you have the right advisors on your side, the right support on your side, they will be able to help you to navigate this entire process. Now, I want to drop a few more nuggets just before I go deeper into this program. We talk about your EIN, we talk about your I-10. As a rising star in business, you need to also set up your DUNS. You need to get registered with DNB. It's vital because DNB is perhaps the largest database that we have of businesses that exist. And if you're serious about building your profile up and you're not visible with DNB, you are shooting yourself in the leg, and that's the last thing that you want to do. All right. You need to set your business up properly. Now, along with this, you need to look at your SIC code. Your SIC code is what we call the Standard Industry Classification Code. And this is so important because you start to rise in ranks in terms of making yourself and your business fundable. Your SIC code will play a tremendous role in influencing the cost for capital. All right, it will play a tremendous role in influencing the cost for capital. And you need to be aware of this. If you're ill aware of this, you're vulnerable, you're exposed, and you will be hurt financially. So again, you need to get the right financial advisors on your side to help you effectively navigate this process. All right. So there's also the NAICS code. You also need to understand NAICS. Now, SIC has been replaced to some extent by the NAICS code. This is the North American Industrial Classification System. You also need to understand these systems that we're talking about. when you're doing business, when you're going after finance. And I started this program by simply saying that access to capital is vital for the success of every business. But in spite of this, we see millions of businesses across the world that are struggling to access capital. And there's millions and billions and perhaps trillions of dollars that exist in dry powder. The main fact that you are not accessing it doesn't mean that capital is not available. All right. Uh, we have multiple financial institutions that we are supporting and representing to help you access the much needed funds that you need to grow and scale your business. Now, I want to move on a little bit to look at how some of these systems can be effectively applied. Now, access to capital through trade line is available to millions of rising stars in business. It is accessible to you. All right. I want to emphasize this too. Many of the top 100 companies, all right, many of the top 100 companies at some point of the life of their business leverage trade lines. You have big companies like Walmart, that is the largest supermarket that we have in the world. They have in excess of 500 trade lines. That means that they are leveraging millions of dollars in trade line to outfit their place of business with stocks for the customers. Now, I want you to pause a little bit and just think about what I'm saying. If you have access to hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars in trade line, which is not your money, this is what we call OPM, leverage other people's money. The biggest, companies in the U.S. at some point would have done this. Today, we have some of the biggest companies that have over 500 trade lines with vendors, and they're able to stock multiple stores with none of their personal funds. All right, they're able to do this, and largely because they're able to do this, they can leverage OPM, they can cash flow OPM, they can put a significant markup on it, settle the debt, and walk away with a profit. And that's definitely a smart way of doing business. These options are open to you also. But as I said again, if you have the right financial mentor and coach on your side, they will be able to provide you with the information. And above providing you with the information, they will be able to set you up and help you navigate the process. We at Pitch Deck 101 LLC and our group of companies, we are very instrumental in helping businesses to accomplish this. Now, I want to look at a few other examples because it's get even more interesting as you go deeper into this. I would have mentioned earlier that when it comes to trade line, things like the vendor credit, it allows you to access capital, millions of dollars at 0% APR. All right. Now, can you imagine in the traditional sense when you access capital through the traditional means, from the time you access capital, the interest rates start to click. The interest rate clock start to tick, tick, tick immediately. That means that if you're borrowing $100,000 and it's 10% at a given period of time, you have to pay back $10,000. And that could be a lot of money that you can use right back into your business. But with vendor credit, we're able to get you vendor credit at 0% APR, which means that for the life cycle, 30, 60, or 90 days, you have absolutely zero interest to pay on the sum of funding trade lines that you're getting. Now that's a leverage. That's financial leverage. All right. And I want to say this. I believe in you, but you need to believe in yourself. and you need to step up and start taking full advantage of some of these opportunities that is right in front of you. You know, get in contact with a mentor, the right mentor, get in contact with a coach, the right coach, get the right support systems around you that will be able to point you and push you in the right direction to ensure that you are winning consistently. All right, you're winning in the game of business. There's no lack of capital. Users, they need to make sure that you are set up properly, you're fundable, and with the right support network around you, you will be able to access the much needed capital that you need to make your dreams become real. When you go to our website, you will also see so much of financial agencies that we are partnering with. And all of them are excited to put monies in your hands. But are you ready for funding? Are you fundable? That's the most important question that you want to ask yourself. We can start this negotiation for you. We can ensure that you access capital, but you first of all have to be certain that you are fundable. All right. Now, when it comes to trade lines, I believe that these opportunities is best suited for a number of institutions. For example, let us suppose you're in FMCG, you're in fast moving consumer goods. So the turnover is going to be fast because you want to uh, you leverage the net 30 where you can have a fast turnover. So FMCG, these are fast moving consumer goods. You may buy them today, and within a week or so, you want to ensure that all your stock is off of your hands. So you could rinse and repeat this process several times and optimize your chance of making money. So you got to be smart about this. All right. These are things that we go into with you and ensure that as you get access to these funding, the business is set up properly to cash flow optimize. You see, we don't want to help you get money and then we put you in a debt choke. You're choking yourself to pay back these monies at the end of the day, which is going to mess up your FICO score. That's the last thing that we want to do. So we give you the mentorship, the coaching, and the support to help you to make the best business decision ever. All right, so you need to understand not only just accessing capital, you need to understand your market accommodators and your market enablers that will come very close to giving you a guarantee that you will be able to cash flow maximize. Now, trade lines also can best be used with online shopping. Now, the possibility exists that you can have your online platform where you have a global platforms that you are selling to. You have an international market that you can distribute your products and services to. So as persons go to your website and indicate an interest to purchase, you have options. They can either pay their monies to you and then you make the purchase, or you can purchase and you have your products there. So the sky is the limit, all right, when it comes to leveraging these type of funding sources. Now, another example that I want to give is store credit. While store credit give all of the above that I've just spoke about, and I've given you a hint about this early on, store credit also allows you to spend the funding that you're going to get. They're going to give you a credit card, and that card can be spent in store to, outfit your place of business with whatever you want. And you also have the excess cash on that card to perhaps invest into, filling all the inventories. So it is quite possible, and I want to emphasize here, the possibility exists that as you start to rise higher and higher in the ranks of trade lines, you're able to do better negotiation with manufacturers. The beauty in doing business in the US is that you can get directly in contact with manufacturers, you can negotiate your deals, you know, and so much can happen. It's possible. So, what I'm emphasizing here is that if you're not getting funding through traditional financial institutions, you have a few options that are available to you. And being aware of these options is so vital for you when you're in business, because it gives you a window to access capital, and it also optimizes your chance to leverage these financial institutions to achieve the financial goals and the business dreams that you have for yourself. So I just want you to pause the button on this a little bit and think about the tremendous benefits that you can gain by leveraging TradeLine. In the event that you don't know of anyone who can give you that support to start building your business up in the right way, setting up your business properly, and start streamlining you to access funding, because you need to build a profile. Um, you can reach right out to Pitch Deck 101 LLC out of New York, and we will be so happy to help you navigate this process. Now, the store credit is also different from what we call the cash credit, and I give some explanation of this. You see, as you build up your credit profile, you're now able to attract not only credit unions, not only banks, but critical investors. Everyone wants to work with you because, you see, in the US, in the developed world, they look at your history, financial history. They look at both the business, which is your PAYDEX, and they look at your personal, which is your FICO. And when you build up these things properly, it sets the stage to appeal to investors. But if you don't know about this, you can't build it up in the first place. And this is why I continue to emphasize the importance of ensuring that you have the right mentors, the right coach, the right support system on your side to help you navigate this process. All right, you need the right input on your side. Now, with cash credit, you are now ready to engage with major financial institutions. All right, this is a big step up. All right, the big boys now want to do business with you because you have set up your business properly, you have built out your profile properly, you ensure that you're fundable, and now everyone wants to do business with you. It's a process. The process can be fast or the process can be slow, depending on your knowledge of what you're doing, depending on the support system that you have around you that can influence this. All right, the main things here, you want to ensure that you have a solid FICO and a solid PAYDEX. And there are strategic things that you need to do and know and do when you're moving in this direction. All right, so what I'm going to quickly go through now is some benefits of looking at TradeLine. I would have mentioned this earlier, but I want to emphasize it so as to ensure that you're getting the message. The ability to leverage TradeLine in the right way means that you're accessing capital at 0% APR. You have this option. This is net 30, 60, and 90. Now, within this window, you have absolutely no interest to pay back on the sum of funds that you're given to leverage. So why not leverage it? Why not do what some of the top 100 companies have been doing for decades to take their operation to another level? It's obvious that they've been doing something smart. So you need to take that out of their books and leverage it. All right, leverage it. So whether or not you have access to debt, equity, credit, creative financing, or hard money lending, you still have TradeLine that is available to you that you can leverage, flip it, 1,000 times, make profit, and have 0% APR to pay on this. All right, 0% APR to pay on this. The beauty about this also, this is what we call you know, it is like a revolving fund. All right, it's like a revolving fund. But let me go, we pause there a little bit. You're able to get instant access for these net funding. All right, close to instant access. We have set up a number of businesses uh, on these platforms. In fact, we are partnered with some of these institutions. And in less than an hour, we can set you up with a few of these institutions. That's how fast it works, instant. And once you are approved, and we will help you to get approved, you're able to start to access these net 30. So see it this way, you might be a trader who is trading FMCG products, and you're now in contact with a big manufacturers, and they're giving you a trade line. So you have this trade line, which give you access to a sum of money that you can start shopping right away. So you're able to take those goods, ship it off with no money deposit, get your return, pay off that debt, and walk away with your profits with no money down. That's how easy it is. Now, it removes access to Capital Challenge. This platform, what it does, it removes access to Capital Challenge. The challenge to capital is being removed. All right. So you can now grow and scale your business with greater ease and much faster because you have all of these options that are now available to you. You're able to now access what we call revolving debt. You know, you can repeat the process multiple times because it is a revolving process. You take it, you pay it, you take it again, you pay it back, and you keep that cycle of smart capital leverage moving. OPM, you keep that process moving. So these are real practical example of how to leverage OPM to cash flow like a king. Let me call it that, or cash flow like a queen. It's quite possible. All right, you have access to you access the ability to leverage credit in and out of store. These are all the benefit. You're accessing capital that you can leverage instantly in and out of store. This is with store credit. All right, it's available to you. You're able to build credibility and relationships in the financial world. As you set yourself up here properly, these are some of the benefits. And this is so important. There's a lot of rising star that want to start today, want to be successful tomorrow, but you don't know what you're doing. It's a process. Now, I'm not saying that the challenge in doing business cannot be reduced, but do you have the right mentors and the right coach and the right support systems on your side to help you navigate the rough terrains of doing business? Perhaps not. And if not, it's going to be tough. So I want to advise you. You must have, solid advisors in your community, business consultants that you can go and talk to and get their, support. If you don't have that, you know what to do. Reach out to us. We are happy to give you that support. All right, when you set up the business right properly and you're fundable, investors knock at your door all the time. All the time. All right, America has an integrated system. And once you're doing things right, you have a lot of the right people knock on your door to help you to move even faster. All right, to help you to move even faster. Other benefits, you're able to build a strong PAYDEX score. I talked earlier about this. FICO and PAYDEX score. You need to, everything in the US, runs on your FICO. In fact, This is becoming a more globalized concept because even in developing and middle income countries, they are turning now to a credit score, and they are using your credit score to assess your credit worthiness. And if you're ill aware of this, it's not going to only affect how you access capital, it can affect you the next time you go to rent a house, because when people look at your FICO or your credit score and they see that, hey, there's some derogatories here, they're going to think twice about doing business with you. They're going to think twice about renting you their property, because they are looking at your profile and they're seeing problems. So you're going to create challenge for you. So you need to have the subject matter expert on your side to help you navigate this process. Now, as promised, I did mention that there's going to be some giveaways today. Now, we at Pitch Deck 101 LLC, Global Capital Inc., and 10X B&M LLC out of New York, we are going to be sponsoring the first 10 persons to sign up with us to study these programs. We're going to sponsor you. We are going to enroll you into our sales communication program. We are going to enroll you into our public speakers and influencers incubator. And there you will be exposed to a number of best-selling authors. You're going to be in contact with financial experts. You're going to be in contact with sales communication professionals that are going to be there just to help you navigate the real world of doing business. The vision here is to accelerate the pace in which you're growing and ensure that you're getting the kind of support that you need to cash flow optimize. So I want to encourage you to go to our website. It is pitchdeck 101 pitchdeck-101.com. I repeat, pitchdeck-center-101.com. Go to that website, and what you can do, you can go to shopping, and you will see Master the Will to Win. That's one program that we're offering right now. We're sponsoring that program for you, so you just have to sign up. The next thing that you can do is go to More. There's a drop down in More, and you're going to see a free training program. You can click on that program and register, and once you register, just send it to us, and one of our personnel will get that and put you into that database so you can be mentor and coach. Now, this is for a limited period only. So my advice to you is to take action now. All right, take action now. As I said to you, our focus is not on just helping you to access capital, debt, equity, credit, creative financing, and hard money lending. We can do that easy. But we want to make sure that you win in business. So as you take capital, those funding goes to proper use. It is going into income producing assets, and it is being invested in a smart way to ensure that you win financially. So these are things that you will learn when you come in to our inner circle. All right, you will be mentored, you will be coached, you will be given the support, a holistic support, to ensure that you truly understand how to do business. All right, so today we talk about access to capital. We looked at trade line. We looked at the 3 tiers of trade line. We looked at vendor credit, store credit, and cash credit. We looked at some of the advantages in relation to this. And we also said that if the top 100 companies, they have been using this at some point of their business life, or perhaps they're still using it, why not you? Why not you? You don't have to struggle to access capital anymore. You just need to ensure that you invest your time, talent, and resources to get the information, or ensure that you have a professional on your side to help you navigate that process. Feel free to reach out to pitchdeck101.org. We're here to give you that support. Again, my name is Gary Thompson. I am a business consultant by profession, and I'm here to give service. Remember, I want to encourage you to like, subscribe, and share this podcast so you will be the first to get these content that we're bringing to you on a regular basis. And feel free to reach out to us. Looking forward to engage with you.